We have represented on this panel an Eastern viewpoint and a Western viewpoint. And the way we really operate in this country is that we go into a grocery store filled with foods that are really bad for us. And interestingly, as Cheryl has pointed out to me, some of the companies that make those foods make those same foods without the sugar and without all the artificial ingredients, and they're sold in other countries that way because those countries won't allow all of that to be put in our food. And would you just speak to this just a little bit?
I hate to be a conspiracy theorist, but there are things that happen in this country that don't happen anywhere else. And we need to be in the faces of our legislators trying to make sure that our food supply is safer. The amount of sugar, the amount of salt that's in some of the same products in the United States are not in the same products, even in the UK. Even, in other countries, not just third world countries, it's other countries. We have to be very careful about that. Our food supply is set up to hurt us.
Control. We can make a decision of what we purchase, right? Food scientists are hired to create chewing machines to just find where the right snap is in a chip to make that addictive part of your brain. Food scientists also put chemicals in foods to actually make us addicted. It's called the bliss point. So they just want to know where is going to be your selling point and your addictive point based on your taste buds and the stuff that's put into food.
The alternative is not aspartame or
Right.
sucralose.
Right.
Okay, which is NutraSweet and Splenda. We don't want to put that in our system. That's poison. Okay, and Dr. Z can probably elaborate on that a little more. That's not a healthy choice.
Right.
No,
Because someone will think, well, gee, I'm not going to drink Coke because that's got sugar in it, so I'll drink Diet Coke.
Oh, that's great. So you're gonna
See, I know how to do this.
so you're gonna go from refined cane sugar to aspartame, which once it gets into the liver and heats up to your body temperature becomes formic acid and formaldehyde. You guys ever dissect frogs in school? Worms? So the embalming fluid's formaldehyde, and actually the research shows that when the liver detoxifies aspartame and these other artificial sweeteners, we create destructive compounds in the body like formic acid and formaldehyde. So stay away from the diet stuff, and that's not going to help you lose weight either.
But isn't it also true that your brain is not stupid? Your brain knows it's not sugar. So it wants sugar. It's still going to make you eat something else.
Absolutely. Which starts the whole cycle of bad behaviors, right? And cravings and different things. So, you see these kind of funny commercials that all sugar is the same. No, it's not. All red meat is not the same. So if you look at sugars itself, fructose is a fruit sugar. Sucrose is a man-made synthetic white refined sugar which has two different properties when you eat it. If you eat the fruit source of it or vegetable source of fructose that has the fiber in it, you don't get the rapid blood sugar rise that you would if you had a Snickers bar, which is all cane sugar. The other thing to think about with fructose is it just doesn't mean you can go out and drink a gallon of Tropicana orange juice because nature didn't make it that way.
Right.
Nature made it in a whole food form. So if you eat a fruit that has fructose in it, you're also eating the fiber, the nutrients, the plant-based compounds in it that slow the absorption of sugar, and fructose itself doesn't really raise your insulin too much. However, if you eat too much fructose or too much high fructose corn syrup, you get a fatty liver and we start to get diseased and so forth, which then people say it's an aging-based problem. It's not an aging-based problem based on the sugar you eat, it's how long you've been beating yourself up with it. So fructose is a healthy sugar source, just do it in the whole food form.
Let's talk a little bit about, because what most people do when they stress out, like let's just be honest here, they eat sugar, some form of sugar. So what does that do to the body?
So I think as a society we shock ourselves awake and we sedate ourselves to sleep, right? So we wake up, we drink tons of caffeine, and we try to find some alcoholic beverage maybe to just make us chill out and de-stress, if you will. But if you're feeling stress and you go to sugars will increase certain hormones in the body and shut off others. So when you eat sugars when you're under stress or you're going through a stressful time, it's better to take a breath than it is to go for a cookie. However, when you eat sugars, it raises insulin, which then promotes a whole world of disease, and that includes diabetes, atherosclerosis, obesity, and so forth. And another thing that I think people aren't aware of, when you eat sugar foods and you actually raise that insulin, you raise that hormone called insulin, it's a major promoter for cancer growth. So insulin is really a destructive hormone. Obviously, it regulates our blood sugar. We need it, but there is a way to control it through foods. And if you eat too much sugar, your hormones are going to be pretty out of control.
And when you raise your insulin levels quickly, it drives your blood sugars down, so you get hungrier and eat more, and you feel lousy. So why not regulate
And
it?
then we go to something quick sugar, right?
Right.
So when you get the sugar crash, you're going, I got to have something else. And it perpetuates a
It
cycle.
puts you on a cycle, and you circle the drain. That's how it works.
Now, another thing I think people really worry about, because, you know, they say that in our lifetime, they're going to find a cure for cancer. They say in our lifetime, we will find many other cures that will help bring down the number of coronary artery disease. But we're not nearly as close in finding a cure for dementia.
No.
So what are the things that we should be doing to try to cut back our chances of having dementia?
One of the things we know is that a sick brain is more likely to develop dementia. So anything that you can do to keep the blood vessels in your brain open, the same thing you do to take care of your heart, making sure your weight is okay, making sure you're exercising, you're eating well, stressing yourself less. But the other thing that I want to tell you is if you do a lot of puzzles, you'll be good at doing puzzles. That doesn't necessarily keep you from getting dementia. It's being vibrant, it's learning new things. It's generating joy. Those are the things that may stave off your risk of having dementia.
And I think a note with Dr. Woodson, plasticity is a term thrown around in the neurology field that you can cause plasticity of nerve pathways. Let's say you go out and you try to swing a golf club, you're like, I just can't do it. If you do it a million times, you'll eventually have the pathways and muscle control to build plasticity to make that happen. The other thing to think about as far as dementia and Alzheimer's, actually some of the research is showing that Alzheimer's is what they're looking to rename Alzheimer's as a type 3 diabetes.
Yeah,
And so if you think about diabetes, what we said, it's insulin driven. So as the doctor said, be sharp, do these practices, build plasticity within your brain, but also think about your food, your chemistry, your exercise, and exercise is a big one to stave off these chronic illnesses. But they're really now saying that insulin or Alzheimer's and dementia has a major link to diabetes, and now they're thinking about renaming it type 3 diabetes.
Well, again, it's a sick brain. If your brain is sick, you're likely to develop the plaques and tangles that show in people who have Alzheimer's.
Feel empowered, start making little tweaks, and love yourself enough to do it.
Right.
All right, thanks, ladies. Thanks, guys.